True.
And today we're going to be talking about opposition research and dirty tricks. So just a quick overview of opposition research. It's done by campaigns, PACs, super PACs, and other organizations. They'll do research on the opposing candidate in order to dig up some dirt that they hope will shape public opinion and media coverage. Some examples of organizations that do this are American Bridge, which is a Democratic super PAC, or America Rising, which is a Republican super PAC. This can also include tracking, which we will touch on more later. Researchers are generally outsiders to politics. A lot of them are journalists and approach their research like a journalist would. They'll include all information they find, even if it doesn't completely align with the partisan efforts that they're working for. And it's not unusual for a Republican team to start opposition research and for a Democratic team to pick it up, or vice versa, especially with races that have primaries. So what are they researching? They're looking for any information that's related to the fitness of a candidate's ability to serve. They don't generally encourage candidates to use things that aren't directly related to this. The more personal things like divorce records and medical records usually backfire unless it's some really awful information. But Trump has changed the discourse because a lot of things that have come out about him haven't really made any impact. They're looking for information that's documented and credible. So they start off by Googling, they do a deep dive, they build a framework and find some of the big issues. They'll look at voting records of incumbents, tax records, any comments they've made, any criminal records, even speeding tickets. They'll look at personal voting history at every level of government. They'll look at any court cases they're involved in, minutes to meetings they've been a part of. And then they'll talk to any source that they find through that research to try and find even more documentation. So they'll sit down and talk to almost anyone who thinks that they know something, but they won't use that information unless they know that it's documented and credible. And they aren't using any dirty tricks to get any information out of people. They're treating it like a journalist normally would a story. And it's a lot easier now that everything's digitized. You can find public records online, look through candidates' social media posts, things like that. So the research has gotten a lot easier. So just some history of opposition research. The most famous and probably worst example is Nixon and the Watergate scandal. It was in 1972. 5 people broke into the DNC headquarters trying to do opposition research. They got caught. It eventually led to the conviction of 43 people. Nixon resigned. Most people know about this example. Another famous example, Thomas Jefferson hired James Callender, who uncovered Alexander Hamilton's affair with a married woman. In general, the process of opposition research has come a lot more into the spotlight in the past 2 decades. Candidates used to be really paranoid that people would find out that they hired someone to dig up dirt on their opponent, but now it's more common knowledge. This shift coincided with the Clinton scandals, but it's not necessarily related to it. It's just an interesting timing of events. So what exactly do campaigns do with opposition research? If they choose to use it, they can use the information in attack ads. But as we know, Lund says voters don't necessarily like attack ads, so they might choose to share it with reporters and journalists anonymously, just to get into the news cycle without having their name attached to it. They might also just put it directly onto social media, so it goes straight to the voters, especially if it's a third-party organization. They might be doing this. It's a lot quicker, it's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot easier for them to do. Candidates may also use researchers to find information about themselves, dig into their own history, just so they know what information is out there about them and what other campaigns might be using against theirs. And then an important part of opposition research is trackers. So tracker is a person whose job it is to follow the opposing candidate and record everything they do or say. It's usually a young campaign worker, but it can also be someone from an outside organization that does opposition research. So their job is basically just to figure out where the candidate's going to be speaking or making an appearance, record what's probably a really repetitive stump speech, and then look for slight inconsistencies or contradictions, and then flag it for their campaign to use. So when politicians cater their stump speeches to their audiences, they may make slightly different claims or promises, and the tracker's job is to catch those and kind of catch them in these inconsistencies. There's 2 types of trackers. The first is just an observer. They're a fly on the wall. this is more common, they just sit there, let other people ask the questions, and they just record the candidates' answers. And then there's the instigators. They're the ones who are confronting the candidates, they're harassing them, they're trying to catch a bad reaction on camera. And then this is just a video that kind of follows the tracker in their day-to-day life, and he just kind of explains what his job is.
We're taught not to talk before sex. We just sort of go into it and it gets hot and heavy. But in reality, we should really have these conversations. What do you like? What do you not like? Is this okay? Is this not okay?
One of my biggest strategies is to show up about 90 seconds before the event's supposed to start. That lets me get in, get a seat, sit down without too much time for anybody to come and escort me out. How are you?
I'm good, too.
Good. It's a public building. It's an open meeting. You're having a PCO meeting.
You need to be in a certain area.
You can stand. No problem. All good.
Prepared to fight.
No worries. No, it's good. And if Dino's not coming, I can bounce too. Is he standing you up again? This is twice.
Oh, because of you.
If you pay a tracker with the expectation that this is an investment in getting my opponent to say something dumb, you're wasting your money.
So what is the point of paying the tracker then?
So you want to follow their message. So you want to know what they said in the Rotary Club in a small town versus what they said to a union hall in a big city. Because a lot of times that's different.
Zach has been trailing Dino Rossi for 8 years.
Thank you very much. So many friends in this room.
He's kind of like a spy for the Democratic Party, except everyone knows him.
I was worried I wasn't going to get a tracker during this campaign, and boy, would you get a makeover, Zach? Yeah, it's looking good, yeah.
This is Zach's daily routine. Get up early, watch some Fox News, and then hit the road for a political event. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't pay much either.
Last time I was here, you had a different car.
I did. I've had 3 different cars since the last time you were here.
Three?
I buy them just for a couple of $100 on Craigslist, hoping that I can squeeze a few more months or hopefully years out of them. You spend about the same amount if you were to keep diligent maintenance on a car, with a good payment. I keep my AAA membership. I get the premium that gives you 200 miles in towing. And
that's not what I want to hear when I start on a 4-hour car trip.
Right.
Zach is headed from Seattle to Pasco to record Kathy McMorris Rogers, the highest-ranking female Republican in Congress. Democrats have targeted her ahead of the 2018 midterm elections.
She might not show up tonight.
We're driving 4 hours.
Yeah.
Over the mountains,
Yep.
in the snow.
Yep.
Lady might not be there.
Yep.
You out of your mind, dude.
Zach is so prolific that at pretty much any Republican event in Washington, people recognize him the moment he walks in. So he hired a new trainee named Rachel to go in and run the camera for him.
So this will be a one that they probably won't let me into because I've been tracking them for a long time. So we're gonna have you go in.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you working with the handy cam because you'll probably be further in the back of the room.
Okay.
If you get asked to leave, if someone comes up to you and says, "Hi, are you here